Okay, strength session number 6. We're going to be doing a lower body focus. The main focus being on sort of posterior muscles, so glutes, hamstrings, and it's split into 3 parts. So we'll just run you through that, and then I'll take you through just some variations, movement demos and stuff. Okay, so part A, we're going to be working 5 sets. You're going to do like a bit of a primer. We're going to do some explosive work with some jumps. So we're going to go 5 broad jumps and then take that straight into either 8 to 12 deadlifts, or you can go with 4 to 6 single leg deadlifts. That's 4 to 6 each leg. Okay, so just depending on sort of what weights you've got available. If you've only got sort of fairly light weights for the deadlifts, the single leg's probably going to be more appropriate in there. If you've got access to some heavier loads, then by all means 2-legged deadlift for 8 to 12 reps. Okay, and then rest 2 minutes between each set. So you do the broad jumps straight into your deadlifts or single leg deadlifts, and then about 2 minutes rest. Okay. Part B, we're going to go 4 sets. So we're going to work on some glute bridges. So you're going to go 10 glute bridges. So up, back down, 10 reps. After the 10th rep, you're going to hold and squeeze for 20 seconds. You're going to hold that top position 20 seconds. And then you're going to move from that straight into some squats. Okay, so 8 to 12, just conventional squats, depending on what weight you've got, what objects you've got, can sort of dictate how you load them up. So 8 to 12 reps, maybe a goblet squat, could be like dumbbell in each hand, kettlebells, you see how you go there, but 8 to 12 reps of squats. Okay, so glute bridges into your squats, and then about 90 seconds rest. Going to go 4 sets of that, and then to finish up, so part C, we're going to do just 5-minute AMRAPs. We're just going to accumulate some volume on, we're just going to go with step-ups. Okay, so you can go fairly heavy here, it's 5 minutes. Anytime you break, we're just going to go for 15 strict sit-ups. Okay, so, you know, the heavier you go, potentially the more you're going to break. If you go super light, might even be that you go 5 minutes unbroken, but just get some good quality volume in on some step-ups there. And again, there's variations you can use. If you've only got sort of light weights, you can make, like, try and find something higher to step up onto, or if you've got a really heavy weight and it's challenging, then maybe make the step a little bit lower. You can play around with the step height as well as the weight. Okay, so we'll take you through just some variations, movement demos for each of those. Yeah, and there's a really good sort of posterior dominant leg session for you. Okay, so first up, so we've got your broad jumps into your deadlifts. So for your broad jumps, like after a good quality warm-up, you just want to make sure we hit these. They want to be like explosive, near maximal, if you're good for them, 5 reps, but no rush working through these. So just setting up, make sure a nice big jump, and then just try and make sure you can control the landing, so we've got a good quality landing in there. Jump, land, switch and come back. So 5 reps, no rush, and then you're going to go into the deadlifts. Okay, so just depending what objects you've got, you know, you should be able to load these up heavy, the heaviest weight you've got available potentially. Nice solid setup, good strong back. Okay, coming down, nice and solid coming up. Okay, so just remember, keep that back nice and strong, get the legs doing the lifting. If you're going with a single leg variation, so you can go weight in each hand, just go with a weight in both hands, or just offset it on one side. But again, just try and make sure that same pattern of movement coming down, good strong back, and driving up. Okay, so bottom position, back is strong, don't have to touch the floor, good balance. And then just working glutes and hamstrings to drive back up. Okay, so that's our first pairing. So your broad jumps into your deadlifts. Okay, part B, so that's our glute bridges into our squats. Okay, so for your glute bridges, again, you can load these up and fairly heavy if you've got like dumbbell, kettlebell, weight plate. Just going to place that across the hips. Okay, just get that as comfortable as you can. Plant your feet. So when we're doing these, we want to make sure we're braced through the abs, so maintaining good strong position there. Try and avoid your knees collapsing in as you drive up. So drive through the foot, up and back down. So maybe just a second hold and squeeze at the top before we come back down. We want to fully extend the hip, but we want to avoid like hyper-extending. So just bracing through your abs will make sure we can get that nice straight line from shoulders through the hips to the knees at the top of each rep. Okay, so 10 reps, and then on rep 10, just going to come up and hold and try and keep active. So braced abs, squeeze through your glutes and the hamstrings. You're just going to hold 20 seconds. But we come back down and then go straight into our squats. So say it could be like goblet squat, could be like pair of weights in there, just depending on what you've got. We're going to go 8 to 12 reps, just nice and quality, going down, driving up. Okay, it's a good full range. Don't need to rush on them, especially if your weight's light. You can just control the tempo a little bit, slow it down, maybe add a pause in, stuff like that, just to make it a bit more challenging. Okay, 4 sets in there, and then the last part, so 5-minute AMRAP of step-ups, every break, 15 strict sit-ups. Okay, so for your step-ups, again, loads of options for weights, like what weight you go with, or where you're holding it. So you've got your hang or your farmer's hold, you've got your rack position, maybe even overhead position. Could be 2 weights, could be 1 weight, could be like any combination in there, so 1 in hang, 1 in the rack, 1 overhead, stuff like that. You can play around with it, just try and make sure we're keeping good posture for the actual step up. Full foot on whatever you're stepping onto, make sure it's nice and sturdy. And remember, the bulk of the work should be coming from this front leg to drive, try and avoid punching forward, so keep your chest up, drive, and lock that lead leg out before the other leg comes onto the box. So what we want to avoid is driving up, bringing that other leg on to finish the rep. We want to try and make sure drive and just work that strength and stability through that lead leg. Okay, so just going to keep them going, just keep wrapping them out. Anytime you need to break, just down to the floor. I'm just going to go 15. Ideally strict sit-ups, the hardest variation would go, or you could go weighted. You could go hands just side of the head, just coming up and back. So when we initiate the sit-up, we're trying to hollow out. Okay, so we've got that hollow position, and then working to come up from there. Make that a bit easier. Arms by the side. If you struggle with those, you can maybe just anchor your feet. So just a little bit of weight on top of your feet, or just allow it to use your hip flexors just to pull into the load a little bit. So come up and make sure we can get up and back down without your feet coming off the floor. So just really focusing on the abs. Once you've done 15 reps, straight back into your step-ups. Just keep that going for 5 minutes. Okay, so that is strength session 6.